Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Let's start today's program with a very serious question. Here goes. On your deathbed, as you reflect on your life's work, what will you remember most? How much money you saved during your life, or how much fun you had spending it? Well, today we're going to talk about just that.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
The question to open our show today is a serious one to ponder, a question often omitted in the retirement planning process, but one that must be asked assuming you are a saver looking to strike a balance of being serious about protecting the money you've worked so hard to save, while at the same time enjoying and spending the money you have saved before it's too late. In fact, it was the seriousness of this question and how to strike that balance which led me to write this best-selling book I have called Live Well, Die Broke, which deals with the reality of you can't take it with you, and yes, things can change in retirement at a moment's notice. In fact, as we record this show on September 19th, 2023, just last week, I had the difficult task of meeting 5 different spouses, all of whom had recently lost their soulmates and now must deal with the reality of all that hard work of saving money for the future was about to change. Again, no game plan in place to strike that balance of being serious with money while at the same time taking the time to enjoy it along the way, which is why today and next week I'll be sharing my vast experience in the world of retirement planning to be sure you're serious about your money and who to trust to handle it in retirement. Listen while at the same time making sure the advisor is encouraging you to use and enjoy this money before it's too late. Well, welcome folks to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And today we're going to show you how you can be both serious about your money and planning for retirement, as well as how to set up a game plan with a planning firm like Tony Walker Financial, whose goal it is to help you use and enjoy this money before it's too late. But before we get started, let me introduce to you, as always in the studio, America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, fresh off a return visit from the Panhandle of Florida. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, audience.
And this was really ironic because I'll talk about it maybe a little bit here in a minute, but I was down in the Panhandle recently, my wife and I, in Destin, and you were just, was it last week or the week before? Where were you?
Last week I was down a little further from you. You were in Destin. I was in Panama City.
Yes, Panama City. I got a lot of fond memories there, Aaron. I won't go into too many of them, but from 1976 to 1978, our high school baseball team would travel every spring break to Panama City and play down there. And man, that was a lot of fun. We stayed at a little tiny hotel. It's probably not even there now. Is there still like a little amusement park on Miracle Strip Parkway or something like that? Is it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they
might be an RV park there now. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
For 40 years, Miracle Strip Amusement Park entertained thousands of visitors and locals alike on Panama City Beach. The park was torn down to make way for condominiums that were never built.
So this little hotel is probably now, if it's still there, it's probably worth a gajillion dollars. It was right on the ocean. Across the street was this Miracle Strip Parkway amusement park or something. But man, we just had the best time down there playing baseball and hanging out. A lot of memories there. So I hope you and your family had fun. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, we did. We had a good time. Needed the rest, and yeah, it was good.
So you're living out that live well, die broke, right?
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So here's the thing, folks. As we think about this thing called retirement, and with 10,000, let me repeat this, 10,000 people turning 65 each and every day, you can bet your bottom dollar that with trillions of dollars, that's trillions with a T, trillions of dollars in the hands of these savers who are retiring or nearing retirement, there's lots and lots of advisors and financial pundits and books and internet topics, all this stuff geared towards trying to see if these folks, including yours truly, are the best fitted and suited to handle your life savings. It's a huge undertaking, but let me share with you folks, you've got to be very careful because you have to strike this balance. Believe me, as someone who's got over 3,000 clients within our organization, many of whom are what I call in the second half of life, you've got to have an advisor on your side that's having these realistic discussions about, what's going to happen to your stuff when you die, but I think just as importantly, how to use and enjoy this money before it's too late. So what I'm going to do today, and by the way, we have a television show called The Worry-Free Retirement, just in case you've never checked it out. It's on 7 different television stations throughout the state of Kentucky. If you want to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, there's a download section, and you can see where all of the TV stations are and when they're on. We also have the radio shows on several different stations. Of course, you're listening to that now. But I would highly encourage you on this show to try to find that station and watch it. In fact, if they miss that, Aaron, tell folks how they can not only listen to this radio show again, but also catch episodes of the television program.
Sure. So, folks, what we do is we take all of our past radio shows as well as our past television shows, and we put them online so that you can watch them at your convenience. If you miss something, you want to go back and take notes, whatever you want to do. So, let's start with the radio show first. You want to listen to past radio shows? No problem. All you got to do is go to SoundCloud.com. That's SoundCloud.com, okay? And right there in the search bar up at the top, you're going to type in The Worry-Free Retirement. Worry-free is one word, The Worry-Free Retirement. And you'll see our awesome bobblehead. Click on that, you'll find the radio shows. Now, if you want to watch the TV shows, not a problem. We got you covered there. All you got to do is go to YouTube.com. That's YouTube.com, and in that search bar, type in Tony Walker Financial, and you'll see Tony's smiling face. Just click on that, and you're going to find not only past episodes of the television show, you're going to find all types of video content.
All right, thank you, Aaron. In fact, as you mentioned the website, I wanted to go. There's another thing you might want to do, folks. At our own website, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, I have a brand new book out called The Worry-Free Retirement Process. Now, this is not to be confused with a book I wrote back in 2003 called The Worry-Free Retirement, which talks about the seriousness and the having fun. That's the balance we're trying to strike today. And next week we'll get into how to have fun with your money. But today is more of the serious side of money. But this book is a game changer, folks, but it's going to summarize everything we do, all the things I've learned in the many years of working in the trenches in retirement planning. So if you want to get a link to go purchase this book, you go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You'll see it there, the Worry-Free Retirement Process order here. Highly encourage you to order this book, The Worry-Free Retirement Process. All right. So speaking of the Worry-Free Retirement, in 2003, this is when I decided to embark on just being solely focused on retirement planning for savers. And in that book, one of the chapters is literally called Have Fun. And Aaron, you know how I am. In fact, tonight as we record this show, we're getting ready to host nearly 400 clients at the Belle of Louisville at a client appreciation event. And it's all about having fun. You've been to my events, haven't you?
Yeah, this will be our 4th or 5th time on the Belle alone. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, so we want you to enjoy your money, take it serious, but you got to have fun along the way. So today's episode, what I'm going to go through is a few ideas that are out there being pitched. They do have some merit. I'm not going to totally shoot them down, but you have to be really careful, folks. Again, I know many of you are worried about taxes, inflation, and all this stuff. So a lot of these headliners are going to catch your attention, and you got to beware. As the old saying goes, let the buyer beware. And the first idea that's really coming to the forefront, it's been around a long time, but man, it's taken hold, is this idea of how can you convert taxable income, let's use the example of that tax-infested 401k that has something in it I call the tax tumor. And a lot of people out there saying how you can turn that, listen closely, into tax-free retirement income. Would that get your attention, Aaron, if I said, hey, Aaron, I don't know if you know this or not, but you're going to owe 30-40% in taxes on your 401k. How about if I could turn that into tax-free income? Would you be interested?
Yeah, the word free usually gets anybody's attention, so yeah.
Okay, so what they're talking about, and again, I've used these products for years. They have merit, but you have to be really careful. What most of these folks are talking about, these advisors, is using life insurance to create tax-free income. So how can they do that, and what is the catch? Well, let's talk about briefly the two different types of insurance products you can use to supplement retirement income. And it is plausible to do this, but you have to be very careful. And in a minute, I'm going to go over some numbers. We're going to have to get in some numbers. This is why you probably want to watch the TV show. These numbers are going to be illustrated better, but I'll do my best to describe them over the radio. But the two types of life insurance used for retirement planning, the first one is dividend participating whole life. That's my favorite. I've got a bunch of whole life insurance. And then the second one is guaranteed universal life, generally indexed universal life. Now, you've heard me in the next segment, we'll talk about indexed annuities. You've heard me talk about those. This is called indexed universal life, where they've basically taken an old product created in the 80s, universal life insurance or adjustable life. They're linking the cash value to the market. That's why they say indexed. And here's the real rub I have with this product. People are illustrating this at 7, 8, 9, 10% rate of returns. Folks, I saw this play out in the 80s when universal life first came out. It wasn't in an index universal life, but the interest rates were 10, 11, 12, 13%. Yours truly was illustrating these policies at 10, 11, 12%, not thinking that interest rates could go down. Now those same policies that we all thought we could borrow against, they're a catastrophe. None of them are holding up. I'm afraid the same thing is going to happen to this. So if you've been pitched life insurance as a tool for tax-free retirement income, in other words, borrowing out the money through index universal life, here's what I'm going to fire a warning shot over the bow. Before you accept that illustration, ask the agent who's pitching that product. You've got to do this. Ask the agent to run a hypothetical illustration at 3% return. All right? They're going to want to run 7, 8, 9%, and then they're going to want to show you taking money out of your 401k, paying the tax on it, dumping it in a life insurance policy, then turning around down the road and borrowing out the money tax-free. So can you do that? Yes, but there's several problems with that. First of all, you got to account for the tax. If you have $400,000 in a 401k and you start yanking out $30,000 a year, and you want to put $30,000 a year into a life insurance policy, you got to pay the tax on the $30,000. You still have to pay the tax. Then you put the money in a life insurance policy, which is tax-free, but here's the problem. If you start borrowing from that index universal life, it's accruing interest. If you don't pay the interest back, and if they don't make on that contract what they think they'll make, and it only pays 0 to 3%, that policy is going to fall apart, and it's going to create what I call a phantom tax. In other words, all those loans are going to come due, and if you can't pay them back, all of those loans become a taxable event. Folks, this could be a nightmare. Years ago, Aaron, I was at a conference, and they had a lot of speakers there. This was mainly to financial advisors. And a gentleman got up there, and he was very articulate. I mean, I could tell he was a very good advisor. And he started talking about this product and tax-free retirement income from life insurance. And bless his heart, Aaron, he might have been smart in other areas, but he did not understand life insurance. And he was just, man, people were hanging on to every word and taking notes. And I said, golly, this is going to be a disaster. So, folks, you have to be really, really careful by purchasing life insurance, thinking that can produce tax-free income. So under the law, here's the laws, and I'll get to whole life in a minute. You can borrow against a life insurance policy's cash value tax-free. That is true. But that loan has to be paid back. It's either going to be paid back and subtracted from the death benefit when you die, it's going to have to be paid back with interest from the cash value, or you're going to have to pay that back out of pocket. The only way that strategy works and doesn't cause a nightmare for you down the road or your family is it's got to pay 7, 8, 9% interest, which long-term, I wouldn't put any stock in that. So let the buyer beware. All right, the next type of life insurance is dividend participating whole life. I've got one of my policies right here. I took this one out. Now, again, folks, I put a lot of money in. I believe in these products. I took this one out when I was 50. That was back in 2011. It has $500,000 originally of a death benefit. I pay around $30,000 a year into this every year. I've been doing it forever. But look at this. At age 63, see, dividend participating whole life, that dividend is buying something that index universal life cannot. It's buying something called paid up additions, which actually increases the death benefit and increases the cash value. So right now, as of the date of this recording, my policy was $500,000, but by overfunding the policy, we can talk to you about this kind of stuff, folks. In fact, my favorite son-in-law, Trey Juergens, can get you an illustration on this. By overfunding this policy, my death benefit now, 13 years later is over $1 million. Remember, that's tax-free when I die, not if I die. Plus, I've got $387,000 in it, and I've got paid-up additions of $262. And you say, well, what's the paid-up additions? The paid-up additions is money I could withdraw, a portion of it. I'll get into the details of this if anyone wants to learn about it. Tax-free, because they're paid-up additions. And then I can make loans against it. Am I going to use this for tax-free retirement? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm going to use this for death benefit protection. So, for instance, like right now, a lot of people say, well, Tony, do you have long-term care insurance? Aren't you worried about getting tossed into a nursing home? I'm really not, and here's why. If I were to go in a nursing home right now, Aaron, let's say that were to happen to me. It could, right? My dad was at 63 when he was in a nursing home. He died the next year. He was bedridden at 63. Folks, I don't take stock in any of this stuff. I take it very serious. Let's say I went into a nursing home, and Susan puts me in the best nursing home because she loves me so much, and she's spending $12,000 a month. That's about what it would run. You ever written a check for $12,000 per month, Aaron?
Yeah, that's a lot.
A lot of money. And you say, well, where's she going to get that money, Tony? Why wouldn't you have long-term care insurance? Well, number one, long-term care insurance is very expensive, and I may not have gone into a nursing facility and thus not needed the long-term care. But watch where this death benefit's going to play in. So let's say I'm in the nursing home 3 years. My dad was in there about 3 years. So at $12,000 a month, I'm not going to sit here and try to do all this math, but let's just say by the end of the third year with expenses, and she's still got to live. Remember that. She's still got expenses. She's got to take care of herself. So let's just say because of this nursing home stay, Aaron, I'm out. My wife's out of pocket $500,000. That could happen, right? Okay. She spent it. It's gone. It went to the nursing home. We're not going to qualify for Medicaid and all this stuff, folks. It ain't going to happen. So in our case, she's written checks totaling $500,000. Maybe she's just obliterated her savings. But then I pass away. Okay? I die. She is going to get a tax-free check from the life insurance company for just over $1 million. Is $1 million more than $500,000, Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay. She's doubled her money. She's probably going to be the only one smiling at the funeral. So, folks, what am I saying here? I'm saying that you have to be really, really careful out there. I realize taxes could go up in the future. I know that the tax laws expire in 2025, and we don't know what these folks are going to do up there in Washington. I get all that. But the problem is many of you are rushing out. You're taking the bait. You're getting your fears stoked about the future of taxes, and you're investing in products and strategies that, number one, you probably don't truly understand, and my concern is neither do many of these advisors selling them. So here's what I would like for you to do right now. If you're retired, nearing retirement, and you want to just talk to somebody who has been around this world of finance and retirement planning a long time, why don't we arrange a free fiduciary phone call? There's no cost, no obligation. To take advantage of talking with me, the owner of the company, Tony Walker, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Click on that Let's Get Started button. We'll arrange that free phone call, and if it merits, we'll be happy to meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. All right, when I come back, strategy number 2 that's out there, and it does appeal to the fear that almost all of us have, and that is running out of money. How are we going to accomplish that objective to make sure that we enjoy our money, but at the same time get serious about it so that we one day don't run out? I'm Tony Walker along with Aaron Orender. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. We'll be right back.
In the financial world, advisors are often divided between 2 categories: money managers or annuity specialists. My question is, why not have both? At Tony Walker Financial, we specialize in investments and securing guaranteed income you can never outlive. You know, we're more than just annuities. So if you're retired or retiring soon, why don't you give us a call or log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. In case you're just now joining us, we're talking about the serious side of retirement planning. Next week, we'll talk about the fun side. And I opened up the topic with a very depressing question, and it went something like this. On your deathbed, as you reflect on your life's work, what will you remember most Number one, how much money you saved during your life, or number two, how much fun you had spending it? I think it's a great question, and I'm learning even as I get older, Aaron. Time's a-wasting. If you're just now joining us, I'd mentioned that last week alone I had to meet with 5 of our clients who had all lost spouses recently. And folks, all I can tell you is there's no do-overs. I mean, once this thing called life ends, you can forget spending and enjoy this money. By the way, I'd highly encourage you to order 2 of my books. One of them is Live Well, Die Broke, that addresses this and how you can enjoy your money. And we're getting ready to talk about this without the fear of one day running out. And also, if you want to leave a legacy, a tax-free legacy to your kids, we can talk about that. And then our latest book, it's on Amazon, Aaron, but we're having some trouble with searches because I wrote the Worry-Free Retirement. This latest book is the Worry-Free Retirement Process. So what I would do to order that book, go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You'll see it front and center on the homepage. Click there, and that'll take you to the direct link. It's a really good book, and it really gets into the meat of what we do and the different strategies that are helping savers worry less about money. All right, before we get into the meat of the rest of the program, ironically, Aaron and I were down in the Panhandle about the same time, a week before him. And I meant to ask you, I got in some golf down there. You know how much I love golf. Did you get a chance to play any golf while you're down there in Panama City?
Yeah, I got to play a little golf, a place called Signal Hill. It was nice. I did okay. Watched out for gators. You got to watch out for gators in Florida. So
Give me the ball, alligator.
Do you mind me asking you roughly? I know you don't get to play a lot, but you shot decent.
I shot like a 103 or a 104 or something like that. Not bad for not playing for 3 years.
Yeah.
I think 3 years ago was the last time I actually played an entire 18-round course.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about client events, but when will this show air, Aaron?
This is going to air on October 12th, the weekend of October 12th.
So I'm looking forward to this. It will have already have occurred, but we talked about tonight as we record this show on September 19th. We've got a client event at the Belle of Louisville, Thursday in Bowling Green. For those folks there, we got a client event at the Corvette Museum, just showing our appreciation for our clients. And we'll have a client event at the Crown Plaza in Louisville. We've got retired Pastor Bob Russell is going to speak to that. But on October 3rd, which will have already have passed, of course, Top Golf. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun, I'm sure.
I'm looking forward to that and watching our clients swing golf clubs. Hope none of them fall off into the net. I don't know. That's you've been up there, you've seen those
Hope
big
not
nets.
either, because that's a lifetime ban, I think, if you fall off.
Well, that'd be awful. The first time there and you just trip and fall and then they throw you out of there. That wouldn't look good for us either. I'll try to make sure it doesn't happen. All right. In the time remaining, I got to share this with you, Aaron. You heard me talk about this a little bit. Me and my sleep schedule, I woke up in the middle of the night, went out on the balcony of this Destin condo where we were staying. I saw this miraculous light show. It went on and on and on. My wife thinks it was heat lightning. All I can tell you is this is the most beautiful and wonderful thing I've ever seen. And it reminds me that God is in control of so much, but there is times, folks, when He wants us to be in control too. And I'm thinking, well, good. He's got the ends of the earth. He's got the oceans. Everything's taken care of. But in the meantime, I got to take care of my family, and you do too, and the decisions you make between now and the time they pat you with a shovel. So let's talk about our final fear, the seriousness of this idea of running out of money in retirement. In fact, studies have shown, we talked about the fear of death, Aaron, some people fear running out of money more than they fear death. Does that really surprise you?
I believe it.
I can. Who wants to run out of money and be destitute? So with all of the hype about all the different products out there, one of the products we started focusing on around 2000, 2001, when the market started crashing, I was one of the few advisors in the country that hitched my wagon to this, was something called fixed annuities, mainly fixed interest and fixed indexed annuities. Now, for years, we sold these products. And for years, our clients didn't have to worry about losing any money. I call it the phenomenon of sleep insurance. While the market was bouncing all over the place, it went down 3 straight years between 2000 and 2002. It crashed in 2008. My clients who had these products, Aaron, didn't lose a penny. None. And people kept still bashing them. Wall Street, financial pundits. Well, now that's starting to change, folks. This topic of annuities, more and more advisors, more and more of the big boys, even 401k custodians are now starting to tout annuities. Why is this? It's because of this fear we just talked about, and that is no Wall Street person, no bond, no stock, not even CDs, quite frankly, can guarantee an income for the rest of one's life. They can't do it. And what they've realized is the public, especially savers, they are demanding these products. They're not just saying, what about annuities? Many of them are saying, we want these products and we want an annuity. And if you're not going to sell me one, we're going elsewhere. So guess what? A lot of these Wall Streeters are selling annuities. The problem is, many of these people don't truly understand annuities. They're just selling them so they won't lose the money. They don't have game plans to provide the clients so that the annuities can be used properly. And finally, they don't understand the types of annuities and the proper use. So what I'm going to do in our remaining time is explain the three different categories, not the types of annuities. These are categories of annuities that I've come up with over the years and how we use this in our proprietary worry-free retirement software. Incidentally, again, you are always welcome to contact us if you'd like a free review of your situation, get a second opinion from a group of fiduciaries that really knows this world of retirement planning. So here are the three categories of annuities. Short-term accumulation, long-term accumulation, and finally, income annuities, or what we call
mailbox money.
So let's start with short-term accumulation annuities. What is the purpose of a short-term accumulation annuity? Well, remember, if it's a fixed annuity, it has complete principal protection. Assuming you keep that annuity for the full term, usually 5 years or less, we like the 5-year term, you cannot lose any principal. Now, you could purchase a fixed indexed or a fixed interest. As of the date of this recording, our fixed interest annuities are paying around 5.25%. So you give us $100,000, it goes to the insurance company, it's protected, and let's say you need income, we're going to send you $52.50 a year, guaranteed for 5 years, Aaron. How's that sound? No fees, no nothing. That's
pretty
guaranteed. Into 5 years, you can take all the money out, you got your full principal protected, you can do anything you want with it, or you could just let the interest accumulate and grow. But that's called a short-term accumulation. In other words, it can come up for renewal within 5 years or less. You don't have to keep it past 5 years. The next is long-term accumulation. This is for somebody that says, I know I'm not going to need that money within 10 years. In most cases, because you're obligating that money longer, for a longer period of time, up to 10 years now, the insurance company is going to provide you either higher crediting rates if it's an indexed annuity or higher interest rates locking in for a 10-year annuity. Now, that's not a lot of difference, but you got to understand this. Let's say that they're going to do a 10-year fixed interest annuity, and the same company that will give you 5.25 in 5 years will give you 5.4 in 10 years. And you're saying, well, that's not a lot of interest difference. Why would I do that? Well, think about this. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, if I told you you could get 5.4% guaranteed with no fees for 10 years, well, they'd been lined up down to Oxmoor Mall to see us here in Louisville, Aaron. Everybody would be wanting that. So now that interest rates are a little higher, people are like, well, what if interest rates keep going up? All I can tell you, folks, is if you want something guaranteed for 10 years at over 5%, we got it at Tony Walker Financial and be happy to discuss that with you. That's a long-term accumulation annuity. And finally, one of our most popular annuities, if you're looking for that guaranteed lifetime income or mailbox money, that would be what we call an income annuity. Now, you got to watch it, though. Income annuities, many of them, we've got an income annuity now, Aaron, that pays a 40% bonus up front. We have income annuities guaranteeing 7% rates of return. All of those income annuities come with a catch, and here's the catch. In order to get the full value of the annuity, you have to agree to take that over your lifetime or your spouse's lifetime. That is not really a real number. You can't just go in there and yank all that money out. That's an income annuity's purpose is for mailbox money. And make sure that if you're looking at a product like that, you get a second opinion from us, because a lot of these products are being missold, mishandled. People get down the road, they come to us years later, and they realize that's not the product they thought they were buying. So in conclusion, folks, here's what I would suggest. If you're one of those folks right now that needs to get serious about retirement planning, you realize you don't have a game plan, you don't have a trusted advisor, you're out here feeling like you're just going it on your own, why don't you do this? Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Click on that Let's Get Started. Let's talk. We call it the free fiduciary phone call. You can talk to myself or 3 of our other salaried fiduciaries. Just give us a call at 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. Well, we're out of time today, but remember, next week we'll be talking about the fun side of money and retirement. But between now and then, you remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free and make it a good one.